this day would come. For so long it seemed so far away.
What is it with bikers?
Right now.
What is it with bikers that they are so generous, caring, giving and hospitable?
You're meant to be.
Is it because bikers understand what it means to be out on the road? To be open to the elements? To be vulnerable to traffic? Is it because they understand the physical and mental effort required to ride for hours on end, and the exhaustion that is often felt at the end of the riding day? Or is it something else? Whatever it is, bikers in general are quick to offer a place to crash, a meal, a mercy dash for fuel, or a personal guide to the best riding roads in their area. Bikers have an instant unspoken bond when they meet. A shared love of the road, a shared love of bikes, and a shared spirit of hospitality. We've seen it often. Recently we set out on a 2-week tour of New Zealand's North Island. We packed our tent and expected to camp most nights. As it happens, we only needed to set up the tent one night, and it was all due to those darn generous bikers. Day one of our trip saw us ride the 10 or so hours to Picton to be ready for our ferry sailing to the North Island the following morning. To break up the day, we met with biker couple Nathan and Joe in the Canterbury town of Rukaya. One of the greatest things about being part of the motorcycle community is meeting people now. We didn't know Nathan and Joe before today, but we hooked up on Instagram, and they've decided they're going to come out and ride us through their neighbourhood, through the greater Christchurch area. I think it's because they want to give us safe passage, and you know, they know how hard this neighbourhood can be, but we've watched Sons of Anarchy, so we know how to handle ourselves. Nathan and Joe rode with us as far as the North Canterbury town of Cheviot. On day 2 of our trip, and after a 3-hour ferry ride, we landed in Wellington. We decided not to stop in our nation's capital and instead made our way to Palmerston North. We were looking forward to meeting another couple that up until that point we'd only ever encountered on Instagram. As You Were NZ, also known as Bruce, and his lovely wife Sharron fed us, watered us, and gave us a bed for the night. They also shared with us their lion brown bear, which made us feel very special indeed. Bruce and Sharron also offered to put us up for the night on our way back down the country, an offer which we took them up on. And not just because it meant we could see their lovable leg-attacking cat Chuck once more. After leaving Palmerston North, we rode the couple of dozen kilometres to a town called Fielding. We wanted to see firsthand New Zealand's newest Harley-Davidson dealership. Upon hearing that we were in his town, another Instagram friend, Kiwi Badger 1,
took time out of his workday to come down to Fielding Harley-Davidson and visit with us. A day or two later and it was off to the Forgotten World Highway with a visit to the Republic of Whangamomana. It was there that we met Chris, or as he quickly became affectionately known, Chief, on his Indian Chief vintage. Chief had been exploring the Forgotten World Highway just like us, and pretty soon we were chatting like old friends.
Anyway. Yeah, my name's Bruce, by the way. Oh, Chris. Chris, good to meet you. Rel, like Bell, but with an R. Yeah.
He even extended an invitation for us to stay with him in Wellington on our way back down the country if we wanted to. That was an offer that we took him up on. In fact, we stayed 2 nights with him in his apartment in the central city. He even showed us around some of his local haunts and favourite food places. Following a visit to Hobbiton and a day or two to catch our breath, we caught up with Double Shot Moto and Lady Double Shot in the town of Matamata. Once again, we'd met Jason and Simone via Instagram and YouTube, and they were the epitome of generous bikers. We joined them for a quick blast over the hill to Rotorua before heading over to Tauranga, where we were treated to good food, good conversation and a bed for the night. A day or two later and we were hosted in the small but perfectly formed Waikato town of Puteruru by our Travel Nations brother Trick and his family. Toward the end of our North Island excursion, we found ourselves back in Wellington. We met up with another person who up until that point we had only known online. Dan, or Dan the Man NZ, very graciously showed us some of the best riding in his area and some of the nicest places to stop in the greater Wellington area. Last but by no means least, some generous bikers who answered our call when we put out an SOS. On the last day of our trip, when we were heading back home, we were attempting to ride from Picton back to Dunedin in one day. On dusk, just as we were getting into the town of Ashburton, the clouds broke and it started raining heavily. The rain on our visors, coupled with the low light, meant that we wouldn't continue. So we put out a call to another Tribal Nations brother, Nathan, to see if he might give us a bed for the night. So a huge shout out to Nathan and Keri for welcoming 2 exhausted, sodden bikers into your home and showing us love and hospitality. So, what is it with bikers? To all the generous, hospitable, freedom-fueled bikers that we met out on the road during our North Island tour, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And in the same breath, with tongue firmly in cheek, we spent a few $100s on a tent that we only used for one night. So in that regard, Thanks for nothing.